And let's start by talking about rebranding videos. Let's talk about rebranding videos. First, before we get started, it's important to kind of understand that we're trying to do is when we're rebranding that video is to get our USP in there. And so we want to define what the USP is. And USP is basically going to be, whatever that one thing is that your business or your brand does that other people cannot do. So in other words, what is it that I can get from you that I can't get elsewhere? What is it that you bring to the table in whatever it is that you're doing that other people don't have? I mean, if you're going to be redoing video, and let's say you're redoing video, even if the video you're redoing is going to be on weight loss, right? If you're going to be bringing other weight loss products, or you're going to be bringing, let's say, personal development products, and you're going to be doing more than one, what is it that you're doing uniquely in the marketplace? And really, if you're not doing something uniquely in the marketplace, trying to define what the USP is a good opportunity to say, hey, you know what? What is it that people want, that they value, that I can bring to them that they cannot get elsewhere? That is really what you want to try to do. So when we put something else, when we add to a piece of PLR, we add to text PLR, if we add to a video, what are we trying to add to it? We're trying to say something in that product that by the time the person who's reading it, they finish consuming it, that they're left with the impression that, hey, you know what, this was great. What I got uniquely, and I can only get it from someplace else. And that might mean the uniqueness of the information, yes, but it also can be anything that you're going to do to the PLR that's going to be unique that people cannot get elsewhere. So USP is going to be important. So let's talk about what a brand is, because a brand is different. And a brand is what you're trying to reinforce over and over and over again. Right? So in other words, what is it what message are you sending across every single time somebody comes in contact with your content, somebody comes in contact with one of your products, somebody comes in contact with your with your webinar, somebody comes in contact with your opt-in, somebody comes in contact with your social media profile? What are you trying to reintroduce, right? What are you trying to reinforce? What are you saying over and over again? And think about what a brand is, right? If I were to brand a horse, it would be something that I that I basically took something and just almost emblazoned my logo or something on someone. So how do you get somebody to the point where you have branded yourself into their consciousness? Well, it's something that you repeat over and over again. A brand is about repetition. So what do you want to repeat over and over again? What do you want to say over and over again? That's part of your USP. So again, the brand is what you repeat. It's more than a tagline, because it has to be what you want to get into my brain as your customer if I don't hear anything else. When I remember you, you've got to get something into my brain when you have the opportunity. And that's really what rebranding does. Again, I'm all for changing things so that you put your logo in them. I'm all for changing things so that you put your URL in things. I mean, that's fine, but you can do so much more with PLR because you have a captive audience. If somebody's reading something that either you bought and you redid, or you bought and that you added your links to, you have an opportunity at that point to say something that's going to, again, brand yourself, right? Something you're repeating to them. And so basically, you want to have those two things in your mind when you create a branded bumper, right? So yes, you're going to put something at the beginning and the end of a video, and you can, or the beginning and the end of a set of videos, and it's going to be branded. So again, that branded bumper should be what you want to repeat, number one. And number two, it should be a USP, not just a tagline, not just your URL. It should be a branded bumper. And again, even if your what you're trying to get across in the brand is going to be a call to action, right? Even if it's going to be go to this page and get this one thing that they can only get from you, right? If that's going to be your message, then you've got to take the opportunity inside of your branded bumper to say and give a call to action to something that's unique over and over and over again. So the key to branding Anything in PLR is as many times as you can say it, as many times as you can get it in, as many times as you can place it in front of the customer, as many times as you can hear it, without ruining the experience for them. You want to get your message, the one message you want them to take away, in front of that PLR video. What's the logic behind that? The logic behind that is that in the call to action, again, when people consume information, they're probably going to be skimming things. They're probably going to be skipping over something. They're not going to spend a long time with it. So what do you want to say at the very beginning of that video if you don't get a chance to say anything else that's going to be unique and that you want to say over and over again? That is what you have to think about when you start putting together a branded bumper. What can I say, right? What can I get people to do? What am I trying to drive people toward? Again, in the branded bumper, what is the USP? What can you say? So what is an example of something that you can say in a branded bumper? When you're talking, I don't like to use two different transitions in the same one, right? So again, I like to have this here. Let's talk about. So that's all we're really trying to do visually with the transition. Okay, so one of the questions is, how do I feel about using call-outs? I think that if you can use a call-out in a way that's going to complement what you're trying to do. So for example, if my goal here in the bumper is to reinforce something, right, and I can do that effectively using a call-out, I'll do it. So for example, maybe what I want to do here is I want to say, hey, go to technicaltutorials.com. Right? Let's say that that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to make sure that appears here for part of the video, and that's an easy way to rebrand, right? So I can do that, and that might make sense to do, right? Maybe I might fade that out so that it comes and it goes out, right? So yeah, so if you can use it in a way that goes along with what you're trying to do, I think a call out can be good, as long as it adds to what the person is trying to accomplish. So the question is there a way to fill in the black part? So if what you mean is, let's say that what I'm going to try to do here, I'm going to take this call out. And one of the things that Camtasia will allow you to do with the library is it will allow you to do what's called a title clip. And I think that might be what you're talking about. And that will appear here at the beginning. And even still, I'm going to do this the very same way, right? I'm really going to take that title clip, and what I like to do with the title clip is just slide this down so that it appears at the beginning. Right now in Camtasia, what you can do with the title clip is you can click Edit Call Out, and then you can edit this writing in here. Go to www.go.com. Right, and then of course it's going to transition in. Okay, so when you say you've got so the question is about a black cloth background, but it doesn't cover a little corner. One of the things I would say that if you're adding in a transition, right? Specifically, if you're going to add something from up here, one of the things that you can always do with Camtasia, let's say you're going to add in a shape, is you want to look at the shape's properties, right? Whenever you have a shape property, what you can do is you can look additional music to your bumper. Right, one of the questions is about how the video appears when you first play it. One thing that I would say is that when you're in the editing process, it's always going to be a little different when you actually render the video. Now, if the rendered video has has an issue, let's say at the beginning, once you've produced the actual video, then it could be the actual clip that's a problem. But if it's just the editing process, then you want to go ahead and render the video and then look at the video in its final production, because in some cases when a computer doesn't have a lot of memory, what happens is the editor will truncate things, or it'll try to take shortcuts to try to show you what it thinks it might look like without showing you all the way. So again, what you can do is you can then render the video to see what it's actually going to look like. Sometimes the preview is not always going to show exactly what that video is going to look like. Okay, but yeah, but that does happen sometimes. It does happen that when you render a video or when you're working with a video in the editor will not always show the video doing what it's going to eventually look like. Comment was that they rendered and downsized it with Handbrake. If possible, you shouldn't have to downgrade it, downsize it. Anything that you're doing in Camtasia, you're typically not going to have to, you should not have to downsize unless you're adding something huge to the video.